Napoleon's first step toward immortality. The year was 1793. France was in turmoil, consumed by the firestorm of the French Revolution. The monarchy had fallen, King Louis XVI had been executed, and the newly formed French Republic found itself under siege both from within and without. Civil war raged across the countryside, and foreign powers encircled France like hungry wolves. But amid the chaos in the southern port city of Toulon, a battle would take place that would alter the trajectory of one man's life, and in doing so, change the course of world history forever. That man was Napoleon Bonaparte, a little-known Corsican artillery officer with big ambitions and an even bigger vision. The strategic importance of Toulon was more than just a port city. It was the lifeline of the French Mediterranean fleet. Located on the southern coast of France, it served as a naval stronghold with shipyards, arsenals, and a natural harbour that could protect the fleet from enemy fire. But in August 1793, the people of Toulon, who were mostly royalists opposed to the revolution, decided to revolt. They expelled the Republican officials and opened the city to British and Spanish forces, who were eager to use it as a staging ground to choke the revolutionary government in Paris. In a matter of weeks, the city was under the control of the First Coalition, a powerful alliance made up of Great Britain, Spain, the Kingdom of Sardinia, and others, and the French fleet was effectively neutralized. This was a dagger pointed straight at the heart of revolutionary France. The National Convention in Paris knew that if Toulon remained in enemy hands, the entire southern region of the country could fall, and so a siege was ordered. The goal? Retake the city, destroy the coalition fleet, and send a message to the enemies of the revolution. But success would not come easy. Enter Napoleon Bonaparte. At the time, Napoleon Bonaparte was just 24 years old and held the relatively obscure rank of captain. Born in Corsica and trained in mainland France, he had been largely overlooked during the early years of the Revolution. But when he arrived at Toulon as a replacement for the wounded chief of artillery, everything changed. From the moment he set foot on the battlefield, Napoleon saw what others didn't see. The key to taking Toulon wasn't through brute force. It was through precise artillery placement and the control of key high ground that overlooked the harbour. Napoleon quickly drew up plans to capture two crucial hills, Les Aiguillettes and Balaguier, which would allow Republican forces to position their cannons and rainfire upon the enemy ships anchored in the port. But convincing his superiors wasn't easy. The Revolutionary Army at Toulon was plagued by infighting, lack of coordination, and questionable leadership. Still, Napoleon's confidence and vision eventually won over the skeptical generals. He was given command of the artillery units and began to mobilize a massive battery of cannons and mortars to execute his bold strategy. Engineering victory with artillery. Over the following weeks, Napoleon transformed the battlefield. He organized the construction of new roads, repositioned artillery batteries, and introduced innovative techniques for moving and deploying heavy guns. Under his direction, the French artillery became a force of surgical precision. He named the central battery La Batterie des Hommes Sans Peur, the battery of the men without fear, and it would become the launch pad for his master stroke. On December 17, 1793, Napoleon's plan went into motion. French forces launched a ferocious assault on the fortifications guarding Les Aiguillettes and Balaguier. The fighting was brutal. Bayonets clashed, cannonballs screamed through the air, and the hills ran red with blood. But by dawn, the French tricolour flew atop both heights. With the high ground secured, Napoleon ordered his artillery to fire upon the British and Spanish ships in the harbour. The effect was immediate and devastating. Enemy ships were sunk or forced to flee, and the coalition realized they could no longer hold the city. By December 19th, Toulon was retaken by the French. The Royalists were captured, many were executed, and the French fleet, though damaged, was saved from total destruction. For Napoleon, the victory was more than just a tactical triumph. It was the moment that marked his rise, the birth of a legend. The success at Toulon was met with thunderous applause in Paris. Napoleon was hailed as a hero, and within weeks he was promoted to brigadier general. More importantly, he had proven his brilliance on the battlefield, his ability to lead, and his talent for turning desperate situations into stunning victories. His name began to circulate through the ranks of the revolutionary government, and he soon caught the eye of powerful political figures, including Paul Barras and later the future Empress Josephine. But Toulon also revealed a darker side to Napoleon, his relentless ambition, his willingness to use terror, and his unshakable belief in his own destiny. After the battle, he played a role in the harsh reprisals carried out against royalists in the city. Thousands were imprisoned, and hundreds were executed by guillotine or musket fire. It was a stark reminder that revolutionary justice often came at a high human cost. Strategic and political consequences. The victory at Toulon had significant implications far beyond the battlefield. Militarily, it denied the First Coalition a key base of operations in southern France. Politically, it restored confidence in the Republican government at a time when civil war and foreign threats were causing panic. Toulon became a symbol of revolutionary resilience, a place where the new French Republic had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. But for Napoleon, it was more than just a notch on his belt. Toulon gave him something far more valuable: visibility. He had moved from a minor officer to a rising star in the French military hierarchy. The connections he made and the reputation he forged during the siege would follow him for the rest of his life. Toulon became the foundation upon which he would build his empire. Toulon in historical perspective. Looking back, historians often point to Toulon as the moment Napoleon was born, not just as a military figure but as a myth. It showcased his tactical brilliance, his grasp of artillery science, and his understanding of terrain, all of which would define his later campaigns from Italy to Austerlitz. But more than that, it revealed the driving force behind his ambition, an unrelenting desire to rise, to conquer, and to dominate history itself. Without Toulon, there might have been no Napoleon as we know him. No Italian campaign, no Egyptian adventure, no crowning as emperor in 1804. Toulon was the spark that ignited the fire, a fire that would burn across Europe for 2 decades. The making of a legend. So the next time you hear about Napoleon Bonaparte, remember that his journey didn't begin on the snowy plains of Russia or the sunlit fields of Waterloo. It began in the blood-soaked hills above a French harbour, with a cannon, a vision, and an unshakable belief in greatness. Toulon wasn't just a battle, it was a beginning. The beginning of an empire, the rise of a legend, and the forging of a name that would echo through history for centuries. And that's the untold power of the Battle of Toulon, a forgotten siege that changed the world by launching one of its most unforgettable figures. If this glimpse into Napoleon's rise at Toulon fascinated you, imagine the untold stories waiting in the shadows of history. So don't just watch, become part of this journey. Hit that like button to show your support for powerful historical storytelling. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the battles, betrayals, and breakthroughs that shaped our world. And tell us in the comments, which moment in history do you think changed everything? Your voice could inspire our next video. Let's uncover history together, one incredible story at a time.